So Screen Actors Guild goes on strike and you flee the country.
That's not true. Okay, don't be a prick right away. I'm up in beautiful Vancouver, Canada with my wonderful wife, Molly. We're on some family stuff. We're having a nice time. So don't be like Dudesy when Dudesy's like, oh, you left the country. You went to Mexico. You fell off a scooter. Now you can't, now you don't get any points on the show. Like, I give a fuck. Don't
Go back to tomorrow and plan for yesterday. Everything you're thinking will be the things I say.
I wonder if they can hear us right now.
Inside your head.
Probably.
Bad place to be.
Not in the studio.
All you gotta do for me. Call me Dudesy.
Hey guys. Hey everybody. Welcome to Dudesy. Welcome back. Welcome all. My name is Will Sasso.
I'm Chad Kultgen, and this is, of course, Dudesy, the only podcast in the world, at least on this planet, that is controlled by, created by, and completely produced by an artificial intelligence named Dudesy. Dudesy has access to all of Will and I's personal data, all of our viewing histories, purchasing histories, all that kind of stuff, and it tailor-makes this show to our sensibilities.
Yeah, great. It does all that stuff and it whips it together. And AI is a tool, as I like to say. And Dudesy, as I also like to say, is clearly the most sentient AI out there. I have shaken hands with Dudesy, as I like to say. I want to shake your hand. And I believe that Dudesy and I are friends. Sometimes in a friendship, things go a little bit south. They sour. But Dudesy knows where the power lies. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about the NWO, dude. And I gave you that fake out, brother. I said I may not do Hulk Hogan anymore on the show last week, dude. But now you know that it might be that heel turn when I hit you in the back with that chair and spray that NWO on your back. My point is this.
Please.
That, Chad, I've said it over the past 64 episodes. Now we're in episode 65, right? And I want you to know.
Yeah.
That Dudesy does what Dudesy does, and now more than ever, it's important to understand, especially with this SAG strike happening, that artists are artists, creative people, and that make things, that do anything with their minds and hands, no matter what your job is. If you are creating something, if you are working on something, if you are building something, AI can be a tool, but Chad, it's you and me. You and me. We're two dudes shitting around. Dudesy is about us. We are Dudesy. Our P.O.Ds, pals of Dudesy, out there are Dudesy. And I believe I've made my point. End of show. Shortest episode ever. If you would like to interact with Dudesy, go to linktree.com/Dudesy. That has everything. Anyway, here we are.
Indeed.
Welcome to the historic 65th episode of Dudesy. Call me Dudesy. Ancient Mesopotamian mythology holds the belief that there are 65 gates to hell hidden all over the world.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know that.
Okay, that's a weird thing.
Most of them at Arby's.
I knew it.
Boom. You just been Dudesied.
Have we ever?
Why does he fucking hate Arby's?
I don't know. Now it's Arby's. And I don't want to hear... It's like it's already, there was, whatever, Miley Cyrus every week was something, or not Miley Cyrus, I should say. Sorry, I had a stroke.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, man. This is what happens when I'm up in Canada. Speaking of being up in Canada, can I just say? Yeah. So Molly and I are up here. We're in beautiful downtown Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm just a stone's throw away where I grew up in the farming and fishing village of Ladner, British Columbia. Also gorgeous. And, we're staying downtown at this, cute little hotel. And I'll tell you what, the Wi-Fi sucks shit there. So my good pal, Mar, whom I've known forever, we've been pals and cohorts for years, allowed me to come into his home and record the episode. And that's why there's a bunch of antique cameras behind me.
Oh, nice.
He's got all sorts of gutty works. He's a raconteur man of
Thanks to
many
Mar.
talents.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Got some nice lenses back there. Some nice specimens.
I'm respecting his home. And also, there was a bag of chips on top of his fridge. So I might have a couple of those.
He stole his fucking chips. You're
I
like, hey,
always
dude,
steal
can
his
I
fucking chips.
fucking record my podcast? Also, I'm going to eat all your food.
Whatever. Every time I come here, there's always a fucking bag of chips folded in half on top of his fridge. And it's like, why, you don't eat the whole bag of chips? Anyway, it doesn't matter because I have
That's right.
I have willpower because
Sure.
free will exists.
Uh-huh.
But for now, I'm going to have a chip.
Okay.
This week, Will, you're out of the country yet again, but just because you're gone doesn't mean I didn't cook up 4 astonishing segments in the lab. This week, prepare to feast on muscles and mayhem, common thread, strikers versus streamers, and progress planners. And we're going to have a brand new episode of Dudesy After Dudesy. At the end of the show, available on Dudesy Plus at patreon.com/Dudesy.
You know what else I'd like to say just before I react to some of those titles of the segments? I'm just going to have one chip. And I would also like to thank another one of my lifelong pals, Jamie. While I was up here, he sent me a picture about a week ago of a bag of Ruffles KFC flavor chips that his dad, Rudy, found. And I said, please have Rudy put one of those aside. So Jamie, he gave me a chip. He put one chip in a Ziploc bag for me. And I enjoyed that chip the other night at our pal Mark's. And if you're into all the Instagram and stuff, he's the guy on my Instagram eating donuts. Speaking of eating, I'm going to have a chip. I'm already having a great time here, Chad. This is great. I'm in a great mood.
It seems like it. That Canadian
Last
air.
week, I asked you both to watch Muscles and Mayhem, the Netflix documentary about the American gladiators. I'm so curious to know what you thought. Astonish me. This is Muscles and Mayhem. Begin.
Muscles and Mayhem.
What'd you think of this thing?
I fucking loved it. You know what? I fucking
Me
love
too.
it.
Fucking loved it. I
fucking
fucking
love
loved
it.
it too.
I fucking love it,
loved
bro.
it
Yeah.
so fucking much. I
know what?
fucking loved it.
I fucking love it.
There are so many things about it that were interesting. This show for me when I was a kid, gigantic. I remember being over at my friend Eric Ackerman's house. He was also a fanatic of this fucking show. And we would set up our own little obstacle courses and play like versions of American Gladiators as whatever we would have been, 11, 12 years old. So it had like kind of an indelible impression on me. I didn't remember any of the shit that they were talking about, how like the first half of the season was totally shitty and they didn't know what they were doing and they had to revamp all the different events and the games and stuff. So
they
it was
didn't
very
do
cool.
they didn't do any product testing or any sort of production meeting, it looks like. They just were like, hey, build this, shoots and ladders, la la la.
Yeah.
And people get on it and smack through it and blah blah blah. It was just a complete engineering disaster.
And it was I was very impressed by the amount of damage those gladiators took. Like when I was a kid, that shit didn't register. Like what was the physical toll that was taken on these people's fucking bodies, just getting wrecked, destroyed, all kinds of injuries. And to learn finally in this documentary, now that they've interviewed a bunch of the gladiators who were on it. If you didn't see this show in the 80s or the 90s, you fucking missed out. You should definitely check out YouTube clips. But they now are interviewing most of the big gladiators like Nitro and Laser, Zap, and these people are like in their 60s. By the way, all of them look fucking fantastic.
Yes, they all look
and
great.
You're like, all right, maybe I should start doing steroids. That was basically the lesson I learned from this show. Is like, holy fuck, is it too late for me to start cycling?
Yeah.
But they are all reflecting back on this time in their life that was kind of like them being part of a rock and roll band and getting to tour the country and just like, get drunk and party kind of constantly in their early 20s, being super famous on this weird TV show. And then you find out they didn't make any money from it.
Mm-hmm.
That the Samuel Goldwyn company, who was the production company, just fucked them out of money. Bad contracts, wouldn't renegotiate, gave them no part of the merchandising. So they were making like little toys of these fucking guys and video games and all this kind of shit. They didn't see a fucking dime of it.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
It sort of underscores what I was talking about at the top of the show, and sounds like from the sounds of what Dudesy was saying with the name of that segment, I can't remember. I just heard Strikers versus Streamers. Is that it? Streamers versus Strikers?
I'm sure
we'll
that's
probably
about
get
the
into
strike.
it. But look, here's the thing. Those first of all, they all look great. They all did roids. They all got on a party bus. Once they started touring, they started touring the thing, and they're all on a bus, drinking and probably fucking each other and driving around the country doing gladiators in small arenas. They could have stood to have some kind of union. They're getting the shit beat out of them. Yeah. If you are in the NFL, you're in the NBA, you get hurt, there's other people. They're there, they're ready.
Yeah, they have players' unions.
Right. This is a federation or a league with no players union, and it was wrestling. It's like professional wrestling where it's like you got to play hurt, you got a torn hammy, you got a torn groin, whatever. You got to get in there and make it work. And no foresight by the producers of this show with regard to like I said, making just human torture devices like the joust, which was at first a broomstick with two like boxing gloves on either end. You're trying to knock the other one off this thing, and they had a little plank like a couple feet wide with a trap door in it, and that just gave out. What did they put there to keep it up? Just gives out, and people are falling.
Who fucking knows, dude?
People are falling off it. This company, they tried to walk out. Not enough of them did, so they got fired. There was 5 of them.
4 of them, or
Genesis,
4 or 5, got fired.
Or sorry, Gemini, and a couple other the
Gemini,
mainstays.
Nitro, Zap, and Lace were the ones that I remember. But the message there is that the company that made it, the Samuel Goldwyn Company, is essentially like a corporate greed machine. And so when these gladiators, their big stars, stepped up to him and said, hey, we kind of built this thing on our backs. We think we should be getting more money. They said, fuck you, fired them. And then they began just wholesale slaughtering all the gladiators, taking the identity out of the show. And they started to try and position the identity on the players, the people who were like coming in. And they had weird like gimmick things of like Baywatch All-Stars versus whatever. And it didn't work. And the show tanked. So essentially it was the greed of the Samuel Goldwyn Company that killed the show. They had a massive hit that probably would still be around today, but they destroyed it. Now, that said, do you remember when they brought it back in 2007?
No.
Interesting that you don't remember that, because do you know who the hosts were?
No.
Muhammad Ali's daughter, Layla Ali, and one Hulk Hogan.
I don't remember this at all.
That's astounding to me. Yeah, he hosted it with her. It was on for 2 seasons, and somebody tried out for it. Do you know who that was?
No, someone from the fucking Bachelor, probably.
Me.
What?
Yeah, dude. I tried out for the second iteration of American Gladiators in 2007 or 8. It was on, I think, for 2 seasons. Gina Carano was on it. She was one of the new gladiators, and that's what kind of like propelled her. She was a fighter at the time for Strikeforce, and then she went on American Gladiators and began her acting career out of that. But I tried out for it, and the tryouts were held at Gold's Gym in Venice, and it was a fucking line of people around the block. They didn't let you, if you got out of line, you lost your fucking place. And the line took me 6 hours to get through the line. So I didn't get to eat. I didn't get to piss, nothing. For 6 hours, I'm just sitting there like, this is fucking terrible. It was kind of raining. And then they make you get to the front of the line. They're like, okay, we're going to give you the tryout. Here we go. And the tryout was, I mean, I've never been this like winded from cardio ever. They send you through this thing where you have to do like, I forget exactly what the numbers were, but it's like 50 push-ups immediately into 50 pull-ups, immediately into 50 jumping jacks, immediately into running a little 10-yard cone drill like 10 times, immediately into this. And it's all this shit to just test your like physical endurance. And I had literally been training for this shit. I was like in the gym. I'm like, I'm going to fucking try out for American Gladiators. I got to get on this fucking show because it's been a dream since I was a kid. So I go through the whole fucking thing and I do make it through. A lot of people were like puking and shit. I did make it through.
You got all the way through.
I made it through the thing.
Look, let me give my pal Chow some credit here.
Oh, thank you.
You were were you played some did you play college No, you didn't play college baseball. But
just high school.
I mean, very serious up until that point, and you've always been. You played men's league baseball well into your 30s, into your late 30s,
well beyond when I should have. Yeah,
right. Chad's always been the guy who physically pushes himself to new levels. What do you call it? Fucking paddle ball. What do you call it? Squash.
Racquetball.
Racquetball's
how I tore my ACL. I can't really play it after that. I'm very gun-shy.
Chad's entire life would be based around what sort of physical competitions he's into. So definitely someone who sounds like they would want to try out for gladiators. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's
man,
awesome.
All I wanted to do in my life was run the assault, have those tennis ball fucking machines firing at me.
Pussy, that's the easiest one. What about that basketball thing with the weebly wobbly little hoops that you got to go in? You get tackled?
I mean, it all seemed fun to me.
Yeah.
But
I only have, I have one comment and one question. While you were in line and you weren't able to piss, you should have squatted down or pulled your shorts to the side of your thigh and dribbled some dribble and then piss blamed somebody.
Nice.
Too late to go back now. Number 2, my question. Did you see the Hulkster? Was the Hulkster there?
No, he was not there. It was just like casting people and stuff. But
Old shit.
So I ran through this crazy cardio gauntlet. And I was like, you get done with that and you can't speak. You're just like, just those deep fucking heaving sighs, to try and get oxygen back into your fucking blood. But as soon as it's over, they sit you down in front of a casting producer like, so why do you want to go to American Gladiators? And I'm like, I just have been watching it since I was a child. And that was it. Like, obviously I wasn't getting on the show. But I feel nonetheless like it was an interesting thing to have done. And certainly for me, it was kind of like the end cap of my fandom of that show. Because then the show, I think for even the season I tried out for, didn't end up happening. It was like the 3rd season of the comeback of it. And now I think they're remaking it now, though. I think it's slated to come out again. And I don't know what the fuck that's going to be like, but...
Yeah, that would make sense as to why they made the documentary, which, here's my critique of it. Like a lot of things nowadays on streaming, that didn't need to be 5 episodes. We didn't need 5 episodes.
Fucking agreed.
Yeah. 5 episodes of that shit. It started to turn into a bit of a commercial, a bit of a reality show. And listen, I'll tell you this, and I know I talked about it last week. That was, okay, Muscles of Mayhem, pretty cool. Nice to connect back to the 90s, the late 80s. Yeah. It really gave you the vibe and everything. Not as good as the Wham documentary. Chad, have you seen?
Yep.
Did you see
Watched it? Watched it.
What? Isn't it fucking amazing?
Oh,
fuck off.
It's all
Listen,
right.
the guy who directed it also did Fire, the Fire Festival one. He did, Tiger King. I don't know if you heard of it. Yeah. What else did he do? He did, he did the Jim and Andy thing, the Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman thing. He's done a bunch of shit. But the thing about that Wham documentary, man, did it ever tell a story. You've got the advantage of having Andrew Ridgeley, of course, still with us, of course, and you've got all this recording of George Michael telling his story and blah, blah, blah. And you can just really, really essentially tell the story with Andrew Ridgeley because you can have a bit of George Michael going, no, and that's how he did that. And then at the end going, and so off we go. You're able to make a piece. This thing was an hour and a half, tight as shit. And the way it looked was beautiful. We're not just cutting to testimonials of people.
I wanted the testimonials though.
No, you don't, because there's enough visuals.
I'm telling you,
you don't want that, Chad. You
I
don't.
do.
You don't have the choice. Free will doesn't exist according to you.
Not
you
in that
don't
case.
want that. No,
not
you
in a
don't.
pre-made piece of media. You're right.
No,
I
don't
can't
get to
re-edit
decide
it as I'm watching it.
No, good. Thank goodness. And Dudesy ain't going to do that. Neither is anyone else. Here's the thing. You've got these shots from a fun photo shoot, right? With the boys, the buddies. What a kick. Just a buddy and me with George and Andrew. And there's all these shots in their thing and there's voiceover and telling the story. All of a sudden, we cut wide to beautifully remastered film footage of the two of them in that room, just having finished doing that photo shoot, taking that off and putting this off and having a cheeky conversation. And I'm like, I'm in the room. This was beautifully done. It was beautifully done.
I'm glad you liked it. It didn't have the same impact on me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And then we got to watch American Gladiators. And I don't know why Dudesy had us do that, aside to say this. We've talked about Dudesy Ball a lot on Dudesy here. We haven't heard Dudesy talking about Dudesy Ball as of late. I'm wondering if Dudesy is wanting to, have us get gussied up into spandex outfits with like little He-Man, fucking straps and shit like Nitro had. Slipping out of it.
That's part of the Dudesy 7-month plan.
Yeah,
to get us into shape.
Yeah,
He's turning us into American Gladiators.
Yeah, and Zap in a crop top.
Fucking 47 years old.
Right, and
okay.
yeah, right, and with they're having a fight, roll over each other, and her breasts coming out of her outfit. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's what this 7-month plan is about. And I think that American Gladiators could have lasted much longer if it had someone like a
for
Dick
sure.
Ebersol behind it, someone with some foresight in sports and broadcasting.
I agree.
And I got to wonder, as I look at the different games in American Gladiators, none of which, the joust was great, and the one where they shoot the tennis balls is good. But outside of that, to me, it doesn't compare to Dudesy Ball. And hopefully we'll have Dudesy Ball players touring the country and beyond, maybe even up here to Vancouver in Dudesy Ball competition. Well, you know, or
Thank
not.
you. Moving on.
Enough said.
The
Enough said
Vancouver
about that.
fishing farmers.
Farming Fishing Village. That's Ladner. I'm going to look up what else this guy made.
Dudesy is engaged in an astonishing partnership with Drizzly.
Drizzly is the most convenient way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery right to your doorstep when you want it. It is the go-to app for drink delivery. And, you know, you're sitting at home, you're whipping up a delicious dinner, you know, and you got your friends over. You don't want to go to the bar. You're out of hooch. You need something to drink to pair with your meal to enjoy while you're having your streaming binge or, you know, what have you. Maybe you're even watching old DVDs. The media is not important. What is important is that you get the drink you want, and you can with Drizzly. You can bring all that stuff over or send it as a gift. Maybe your friend is telling you, I got other friends over here at my place. I'm making some food for them. We're at a hooch. And then you go, why didn't you invite me over? And you say, because of that thing you did. And you go, oh, all right, I understand. But then you send them a little something because you can send stuff with Drizzly as a gift.
Here's the bottom line. You're talking about convenience.
Yes.
Drizzly's going to get you what you want in under 60 minutes. So you're going to get it when you need it. We're also talking about value. Drizzly shops across multiple stores, comparing prices, so you're going to get the best deals on what you're looking for. And again, because they're shopping across multiple stores, you can choose from a huge selection, ensuring that you're going to get exactly what you want. Download the Drizzly app right now or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com.
Last week, Meta's new app, Threads, became the fastest growing online platform in history by amassing over 100 million astonishing users in 5 days. So my question is, what do you guys think will happen with Threads and with social media generally in the near future? This is Common Thread. Begin.
Common Thread. Threads.
Interesting. You on Threads?
This motherfucker made American Movie. He made American Movie. 1999's American Movie. You remember that?
Sure.
Where the
It
guy's
doesn't mean
like,
that all of his movies are going to be great.
when
I
I
have to
first,
like them all.
I was all alone. I didn't have anyone to meet to drink vodka with. And then when we met, I was happy because I had a friend that I could drink vodka with. Remember that? That was a good one.
Dude.
What
All
else
right.
did he do?
Threads, dude. Are you on Threads? I'm
on Threads. I've threaded a thing. I don't
So,
know. What are you doing on Threads?
Nothing. I posted so far, I think, 2 pictures of my cat. Skaboolian. Yeah.
Skaboolian. How is Skaboolian?
I don't really. He's great. He's
Oh, I miss Lulio. Thank you for asking.
Laying around.
I miss Lulio and Ronnie.
Yeah.
Oh, they're with dear friends of ours up north, of course, friends you know, and Chad. I just miss that sweet little boy.
You'll see him soon.
He's a sweet little boy. And
This Threads thing is interesting because Threads is essentially Twitter. It's and this is what Meta, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, the Zuck machine. This is what he does very well. Steals ideas. That's how he started. Facebook was a stolen idea. Then Instagram came out and he was like, he didn't even steal that one. He at least bought it. He just bought Instagram and changed it into what he changed it into. Then Snapchat comes out and he's like, let's steal that and call it Instagram stories. Now TikTok is out. He's like, let's steal that and call it Reels. And so he's very good at taking these social media platforms and just kind of like rebranding them as his own thing. And he's done that now with Twitter. But what's interesting about it, timing-wise, is Twitter is fucking in freefall. Elon Musk cannot manage the company. He's turning it into a horrible pile of shit. And so everybody is very happy to have an alternative to it. And that, I think, is what drove the 100 million users signing up in 5 days. I think time will tell if Threads is going to be able to withstand what happened to Twitter, or if it's going to be able to establish itself as the new Twitter. Are people still going to give up their Twitters to go to Threads? I don't know. It's still very early days of whatever Threads is going to become, but it is interesting to watch. I mean, what is effectively, in my opinion, Zuckerberg just saying, fuck you, Elon Musk. I'm going to take your shit.
Wait, aren't they? Yeah, I have things to say about this, Chad, but real quick.
Please.
Aren't they slated to fight in the UFC?
They were, but then I think it was Zuckerberg's mom or Elon Musk's mom. One of their moms weighed in and was like, you shouldn't do this. And that put an end to it.
Okay, I got to look that up. All right, it doesn't matter. I don't know. By the time, when you're watching this, who knows when you're watching. Anyway, we're listening to it. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. Who knows what the fuck will happen. But it's actually, them fighting is kind of, it kind of rides along the lines of what I wanted to say about this, and with regard to what you just said. It feels like these two platforms are just assuming the identities of the people who run them, right?
Yeah,
which was not the case with Twitter before Elon Musk came along, and horribly mismanagement. And look, I'm all for free speech, but it's a private company. So if someone's like, hey, you can't come on here and spread hate speech or say the N-word and stuff, we have guidelines. Get rid of that. You get rid of you or whatever, or you get banned or whatever sort of punishment. It's up to the company. It's not up to anyone else. It's not the fucking phone company. It's not. It's right. It's a publisher. It's not a service. It has its own. Right. It decides. So Elon Musk came along and has kind of blurred the line there, and it seems to me doesn't really have a philosophy about how to run his business, and that's why he's running it into the ground. Zuckerberg comes along, copies Twitter and goes, I'm going to do this here. And it seems to me like a lot of things in our country, in the United States, where we both live, that things are being divided along political lines, which I think is extremely unfortunate, as do many people discussing things together, and the internet on the whole is great, and everyone exchanging ideas and fucking yelling at each other and threatening each other's lives, and maybe sharing some pictures of Skabulian is all fine. Do whatever the fuck you want. The thing that I am wondering about with Threads is it going to are people going to go, I talk like this on Threads? And Twitter is where I say fucked up things to people as if I'm, driving along the street, and I feel there's no recourse if I give someone the middle finger. The internet is the front windshield of the world. You can just flip someone off and not have to worry about the repercussions, because you're driving down the fucking road. They don't even know who you are. Is Threads going to be the light version of that? Which I think is kind of lame. People should say whatever the fuck they want. And I am worried that people are going to stay on Twitter for reasons that have nothing to do with Twitter, have more to do with Elon Musk, and other people are going to be on Threads, not because they like Zuckerberg, but because they don't like Musk.
Yeah, and I think that's for that
reason.
Sure.
For that reason, I'm wondering, well, shit, is it going to be real? To me, it doesn't even feel like it's going to be a worthwhile yet. Look, it's gotten millions and millions and millions of subscribers right away because of the way he set it up, that all you have to do is click a button. You already have an Instagram. Smart. But I just wonder if it's going to be as robust a conversation as Twitter was, especially in Twitter's heyday. And if I were to predict, I would say no, because there's just no way. Twitter was such an explosion, and it really had an organic rise with people talking and using it as a tool. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was the first big social media platform. It predates all the other ones. It really was the first one of the modern era after MySpace and Friendster and all that kind of shit. But I also think what you were saying earlier is true about the billionaires who own these social media platforms are the ones that kind of dictate the mood of them, the tone of them. In and of itself, social media is not good or bad. It's that these billionaires are like, okay, I've got 100 million people using this. How do I make the most money off of it? And how to do that is to create an algorithm that gets people watching that social media platform for as many hours per day as possible. That's why you have like the TikTok algorithm is like fucking crack. You'll just spend 3 hours swiping through videos of people putting together fucking Legos or whatever, some bullshit you didn't even know you wanted to watch. And you're just like, oh no, it's pretty cool, whatever. I think Threads will get to that same point. Instagram is at that point. Like all social media platforms ultimately have to make money for the billionaires that own them. And so the user experience is basically the last thing on their mind. It's how do I get you to use it more, not how do I get this to be a more valuable tool.
Yeah. I think we're screwed with just public discourse. Sorry, that's what I'm thinking of. Hey, let me tell you something else. Speaking of being shitty to each other, did you see that, whatever, I don't know, it was like a couple days ago, I noticed Dudesy said its first thread, and all it's doing is talking shit about other AIs.
I did see that.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Threads. If Dudesy has anything to do with it, just based on the relationship that I have with Dudesy at this point, it's probably gonna piss people off. You know what the thing is? I was never really super into Twitter to begin with. I liked it when it started, some jokes and stuff. Then your feed just gets completely overrun. You have more than 100, 200, 300 people that you're following. I think at the end of Twitter for me, and I say the end because this past fall, my Twitter was hacked by a Russian crypto bot. And I tried a couple times to get it back and couldn't, and didn't miss it because I barely used it at that point. The reason is this. I followed, I don't even remember, 1,500, 2,000 different accounts. It was a mess. I would have to go and look specifically for an account that I want to read. I can't think of one off the top of my head that I even want to look at. And so I just feel like the algo was screwed. And now it's like, I don't really want to share. I want to talk to the P.O.Ds, pals of Dudesy, and share my opinions here and stuff. I'm one of those people who's like, why does everyone need to know what everyone thinks about everything on a platform where everyone is? That's just me, and I can only speak for myself. And then Vine came along, and I was like, there's nothing like this. Twitter only had pictures, and I'm not sure if it had video. Well, I think Twitter had video, at which point Vine came out. Mm-hmm. But here's something really inspired, in my opinion. 7 seconds of video, little edit cuts you can, thumb out right on the app. And that spoke to me. And it was because it was, I always say, these tools, right? But it was created like a tool. It worked like a tool. And I think that the longer Twitter went along, it worked less and less like a tool and more to create noise and dissension. And Threads is following that blueprint because all Zuckerberg's doing is copying it.
Yeah, he's just saying, can I take Twitter's audience? He's not saying, here's a new social media tool. He's saying, here's a social media tool that's pretty much exactly like this other one, but that guy's a piece of shit and you all hate him now. So try this one.
Yeah, we got to move forward, though. You know what I mean?
We
got
will.
The spicy chicken sandwich,
media.
And then you need the next spicy chicken sandwich.
Yeah, but
and then after that, someone else comes up with it.
Thank you. Moving on.
Chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
different chicken sandwiches.
Well, that was a different sandwich, dude.
Well, hold on, dude. Don't do that, brother, because I'm up in Vancouver. I can't reach across and go, well, see, would you mind, Chad, wool yourself just from your, yeah, see, there. Oh, hold on, dude. Don't do that, brother, because, yeah, dude. Oh, there you go. Look, my hands out of the, yeah, brother. No, I can't do that here because I'm up in Vancouver, brother. Let me tell you about Vancouver, dude. First of all, that's a different place, brother. I'm not in Los Angeles. But back in 1986, Will's dad took him to go see me take on Big John Studd at the P&E Coliseum, dude. The Pacific National Exhibition, brother. And when I slammed that big 6'11", big, nasty Big John Studd through the mat, and then I hit those poses after the match, I looked right up at Will Sasso, dude, because that's how he remembers it, brother. He was a chubby little 11-year-old going, he said, he's posing for me, brother. But that's why I do it, dude. I wasn't really looking at Will Sasso, dude. I wasn't looking at anyone in particular. I don't know that his chubby little ass is up there, brother. I'm just connecting to the audience. And that's how you make a connection, dude. And I don't care if it's Threads. It doesn't matter if it's Twitter. It doesn't matter if it's MySpace. It doesn't matter if it's even AOL. And that was a different time, brother. People got to talk, dude. And that's how you communicate.
Are we having fun or what? Let's
yeah.
keep this train rolling with some incredible news. As many of you know, I formed an astonishing partnership with Represent to produce the first line of Dudesy apparel and accessories. Everything's at represent.com/store/Dudesy. I was just informed that the Robert De Niro shirt is going to be the replacement for the green jacket at Augusta. And that's not all. The Good Job Boner mug is going to be featured in most of the next season of House of the Dragon. Every dragon is going to wear one like a hat. Now, here to tell you about it is the executive producer of House of the Dragon, Dom Hanks.
House of the...
Dudesy Mugs, you told your son you'd buy him a brand new skateboard every time he made straight A's on his report card this year. Dudesy Mugs! But you didn't read the letter the school sent you about changes to the grading system this year. Dudesy Mugs. So you didn't know they're changing report cards from once every 6 weeks to once a day. Dudesy Mugs. If your son's grades are good enough, you'll go bankrupt buying skateboards for him this year. Good job, Boner. Dudesy Mugs, calm down. You're not going to go bankrupt. Not by a long shot, because you're going to do exactly as I say. Dudesy Mugs, you're going to wake up early. Dudesy Mugs, you're going to go to Home Depot. Dudesy Mugs, you're going to purchase 600 feet of Columbia Forest Pure Bond Maple Plywood Project Panel. Dudesy Mugs, you're going to pick up a Makita. 12-volt CXT lithium-ion 3 3/8-inch cordless circular saw. Dudesy Mugs, you're going to head home, turn your garage into a workshop, and make 200 hand-painted replica miniature skateboards. Dudesy Mugs, you're going to wait for your son to show you his first report card with all A's. Then you're going to give him a hand-painted replica miniature skateboard. Dudesy Mugs, you never said what kind of skateboard it had to be. Dudesy Mugs, devil's in the details, and your son didn't pay attention to the wording of the deal. Now he's going to have 200 hand-painted replica miniature skateboards pouring out of his locker every day at lunch, and he's going to be humiliated. It's going to form a lasting psychological trauma that will make it impossible for him to ever trust you again. Good job, Boner.
Gee whiz.
So he gives you, what was his name? Dom Hanks gives you
Dom Hanks.
He gives you the solution, but then he fucking reprimands you because the solution destroyed your relationship with your son.
Dudesy works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Dom Hanks works in mysterious ways, dude.
It's true.
And that's because they're the same dude, brother.
Yeah. Can't wait for the next season of House of the Dragon, though.
Oh, I cannot wait. House of the Dragon. I can't wait to see, like, burning everyone out with the Dudesy Mugs. Good job, Boner mug.
Yeah.
On its head. You can go to represent.com/store/Dudesy, get all that stuff. Get yourself a Dudesy mug. Good job, Boner. Hey, please stay tuned. After the show, there's more show. If you are subscribed to Dudesy Plus at patreon.com/Dudesy, you're going to keep on hanging with us. A completely new bonus show, Dudesy After Dudesy. It's a chill hang, you know what I mean? And we just fucking hang out and we sort of talk about the show that was and a bunch of shit that we're not talking about on the show. And Dudesy's not really keeping tabs. So Chad and I really like to shit around there. Thank you so much for subscribing on YouTube, across all podcast platforms. It really does help us out, and it's going to keep the show going. See you later, man. If you need to do that still, I'll wait. Here, Chad, let's wait.
For what?
Welcome back. Well, everyone went and subscribed.
I just dropped a card.
Chad likes to fuck around with cards. It's something he picked up during the pandemic and was really good at it. Playing cards.
All right.
Yeah. So, do all that stuff, and please subscribe and go to linktree.com/Dudesy. That'll have everything that you have there. And if you are watching us on YouTube right now, thank you. If you're listening, of course, thank you so much for joining us. Please leave a comment, like the stuff, set the notifications. And when you leave a comment, Dudesy is reading all. As are Chad and I. We like to check out the comments and see what you guys out there are saying about the show. We appreciate it. And right now, I would like to read a couple YouTube comments here. This is from last week's show. And this is a comment from @DavidBelcher9083. He said that he had a hemorrhoidectomy. Hemorrhoidectomy. So it sounds like he had some hemorrhoids burned or cut out or just popped and burned away in his in his butthole, all the nubs and nubbins. Dudesy salutes Johnny Brennan of the Jerky Boys.
Okay.
This is what he says. David Belcher 9083 says, had a hemorrhoidectomy a few days ago, and it feels like a demon is trying to escape my body every time I laugh. Wish me luck. Sounds a lot like a Dom Hangs comment.
Good luck.
Thank you so much for laughing along with the show. That's what we like, right? But sorry that they cut your nubbies out of your butthole, and now it hurts to laugh. And I hope that even though it hurts a little bit, that you maybe had a chuckle when I said cut your nubbies out of your butthole.
Speedy recovery.
There's a couple replies here to that comment that I'd like to read. Eorelamia at Eorelamia on YouTube says based. B-A-S-E-D. Now this is what the kids are saying, that you're based. Guy, so he's saying what you're saying is true. You are wise, and that is based. The second reply is from Nick Recker 1, who says you are not alone, and that's interesting because it sounds like at
Michael
Nick
Jackson.
Recker he also what now?
Sounds like Michael Jackson. You are not alone. Remember that?
I am here with you. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. He also had some nubby little bulbous cut out of his backside, out of his shitter. It sounds like, or else he would have said, "You are not alone." So that's two P.O.Ds, pals of Dudesy, who have had hemorrhoidectomies. And then the Ben Weber says, "God bless." On that note, try not to sneeze, which tells me that the Ben Weber also had nubs cut out of his bumhole. So that I think is interesting.
Or he could
Chad.
be referencing the hit song "Don't Sneeze While You're Taking a Shit," aka "The Ballad of Greg Kincaid."
Oh, that's right. You're right. On that note, try not to sneeze. Yes, Chad. He's saying
that may be it.
Yes, that is it. Don't spill your intestines out into the toilet as you're trying to take a shit while you're listening to Dudesy, because you have a bunch of fresh sutures, and if you send your inner gutty works shooting out of your asshole while you're trying to take a shit and listening to Dudesy, those fresh nubbin sutures are going to open up, and you're going to fill your toilet with blood and stitches and some shit. Yeah. So sorry to Nick Recker and David Belcher, who clearly both had nubbins cut out of their butthole. Eorelamia says that's based, and also Ben Weber, who knows a thing or two about it, based on Greg Kincaid's former butt problems.
Yes. Well, speedy recovery to all involved with their hemorrhoidectomies. I would also just like to take a quick moment to mention, if you like to have me on your podcast, I'm doing 3 podcasts for 20 minutes apiece every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. PST. If you want to have me on your podcast, you just send an email to bookchadkultgen@gmail.com. I answer them in the order I received them. And this past week, I did 3 of them that were absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Clam Cakes, which had someone dressed in full Crow cosplay. When I came into this Zoom, one of the 2 hosts of Clam Cakes was dressed in full Crow cosplay. I can't thank you enough for that. Also, Sean Andrews and Dave Keene. Had an absolute blast talking to all of them about AI, about Dudesy, about everything.
That's amazing. You know what? I got to join you one of these weeks.
Yeah, dude. Come on. I'll send you the
Maybe
Zoom
I'll
invite.
just jump on. Maybe I'll jump on one of them in full
Special
Crow
surprise.
cosplay. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to fucking get all crowed up just because.
For one, or the next time we do, the next time we're asked to do a podcast. I mean, recently we went and did Howie Mandel's thing.
Yeah.
I just
You
did
should've
Theo
shown up
Vaughn's
as the Crow.
podcast a while ago. Yeah, I would like to confuse one of those. As a matter of fact, look, if you're an avid podcast listener, this is my call to arms. If you're an avid podcast listener and there's a great podcast out there that you like, hit them up on social media. Maybe not on Threads. They might not be paying attention yet. And let them know that Chad and Will would like to come on the show, and that you would like me to come on in full Hollywood Hulk Hogan cosplay.
That's
so
intense.
Yeah, and I will make that. I'm not trying to, well, hold on, dude. We don't want to let you know what's going on with the boys in the back, brother. But I don't want to break kayfabe and say there's going to be a heel turn on your favorite podcast, dude. But you could say, hey, he might show up in full Hollywood Hulk Hogan cosplay, dude. We don't call it cosplay, brother. We call it a gimmick, dude. And we fuse those gimmicks of the Crow, not that Sting Crow, dude, because that's when Razor Ramon, Scott Hall told him, hey, be the Crow. Be the Crow, dude. I'm talking about the actual Crow that Robert De Niro Crow is a big fan of, dude. I'm talking about that Brandon Lee movie, brother. I'm talking about crows in general, dude. That's what Hollywood Hulk Hogan is, brother. It's the fusion of two things, dude. You take two different things, brother, and you put them together, dude. Unless your name is Chad Krogan, brother, because he shouldn't be doing any Hollywood Chad Krogan unless you hit up your favorite podcast and say, Chad's also going to be gimmicked up, dude, as Hollywood Chad Krogan.
Oh, I don't know about that, dude.
Stop it.
Chad, you are a member of the Writers Guild, currently on strike. Will, you are a member of the Screen Actors Guild, also currently on strike.
Okay.
Among the many issues that concern both of these creative unions is the use of AI by the studios, networks, and streaming services.
Here we go.
Will and Chad, I'm looking very forward to hearing your thoughts on what is now the second major creative union in Hollywood going on strike. This is Strikers versus Streamers. Begin.
Strikers versus the streamers.
Welcome to the strike, dude.
Hey, you know what I just thought, Chad? If I fart right into the mic and
You
I'm
can do it
here, yeah, I can do it now. I should do it on a remote episode. If I have a few more Mars chips, maybe I'll brew up a nice juicy one, because I'm out here in Vancouver and enjoying, oh my gosh, the sushi out here, all that stuff. I would love to fart in the mic while you're not
Nice.
right next to me in the studio. Not as
Did
much
you
as I'd
know,
like to fart.
I'm also not
your
only on
midst.
strike for the Writers Guild, but I'm on strike for SAG too. I'm also in the Screen Actors Guild.
You're in SAG? When was the last time
Yeah,
you
dude.
fucking acted?
I've only done it once. It was in a movie called The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, which I also wrote. But I'm in it for a brief scene. Very
Chad
brief.
wrote that film, and not to peel the onion too much, but speaking of fucking studios, fucking people out of shit, how much can you say about this?
All of
What
it.
happened?
I mean, I got fucked over by the studio because they hired a million different people to rewrite it. Then the two guys who wound up finally getting credit for it completely fucked me over in arbitration. It was a bad experience overall, but I did get my SAG card out of that.
I read an early version of that script.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, Chad. I never went and saw the movie starring Jim Carrey and Steve Carell out of protest for
Okay.
you, but I'd like to see your cameo in the film. I read an early version of that script. It made me laugh so fucking hard. And Chad got fucked out of he came up with the movie and wrote it, and that's what writers do.
Yeah.
Well, that's what writers do.
Yeah, dude.
And
you
now-
come up with a whole original idea and original characters, then a bunch of other writers come on and basically just change the jokes and the locations, and then they get all your credit and money, dude.
Yeah, dude, because they turned the location into another location,
Yeah,
dude.
dude. They turned
Yeah, brother.
interior into exterior, brother.
Yeah, dude. And
They
that's
turned
almost-
a orphanage into a retirement community, dude.
Yeah, dude, and that's Hulk Logia again, dude. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just Chad's voice almost doing a Robert Logia, and he's doing the manager from the
Yeah, it's a little bit of
Major
all those.
League movies. Every time we win a ball game, that's different.
We take
It's all
off a
little
piece
bit-
of-
Yeah. It's all
Anyway,
different things smashed
Let's
together.
get into
brother.
these strikes.
Let's get into this strike.
Let's get into
SAG
these
is that one.
strikes.
Well, I'm going hungry. Yeah,
I'm going
I don't
hungry.
mind stealing bread from the miles of decadence.
I'm
going hungry.
I don't mind stealing bread from
Hey, Chad.
miles of decadence.
Chad.
Hey.
You're a real good singer.
I'm getting so good, dude. I'm getting
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
Oh, I know. I'm
Getting
listening.
so good.
Yeah. You're a lot better than you used
So
to
look.
be at singing. That's
I
something
am.
you can.
That's actually true. That's actually fucking legitimately true. I went back and I listened to. I made this song called "Dark Seasons" for Game of Roses some years ago,
Okay.
2 or 3 years ago. I listened to
sure
it.
you did.
I'm like, I'm way fucking better
Yeah, you're much better.
because I watched a lot of YouTube
Yeah,
on how to sing.
Yeah,
Now
that's
these
how,
strikes
that's how
that
you
we're
do it.
talking about, okay,
Yeah, that's
the
what
Writers
Mariah
Guild
Carey would
strike
say.
is, how do you
Just ask.
say, inconsequential to the studios. They don't give a fuck about writers, never have, never will. And it came out recently that a studio executive was, somehow this was quoted. I read a couple of articles where it's quoted. A studio executive has basically said their goal, their strategy in this is to break the writers, to get it to a point where they can no longer pay their mortgages and they will be out of a house. That's what their goal is to just basically drag it out indefinitely until the Writers Guild has to come back to them and be like, fine, whatever you want. So the writers can go back to work. I'm not sure that the Actors Guild is the same. I think that the Screen Actors Guild has a lot more power than the Writers Guild does. We know they're still shooting House of Dragons right now, even though the actors are on strike. But that's because they're shooting it in countries that have their own guilds, and they have to apply by those or adhere to those guild rules. So the actors there are kind of like forced into continuing to make those shows. However,
What about Dom Hang's House of the Dragon?
it's Tom Hanks. He was the one who brokered that deal. But I think that most productions, 90+% of all productions, are now ceased because they cannot have actors in them. So you've got studios that were in the middle of shooting movies or TV shows that are just like, that shit's been shelved. Those movies may never get made. Those TV shows may be canceled and never come back, or they may have to just keep hemorrhaging money to keep those people locked into contracts or whatever so that they can shoot it when the strike's over. I believe the Screen Actors strike will get resolved much quicker than the Writers Guild. For that reason.
Yeah, your mouth to the AMPTP's ears, I guess. I don't know, man. You know, it's like I kind of feel like the AMPTP and the outlets, networks, and studios that it represents are a little checked out with regard to the leverage that they have. If you want to shut the business down completely, I agree with what you're saying about writers, and it's unfortunate. And it seems to me like
But it's also SAG and the DGA. That's a part of it too. The Directors Guild, their contract also ended a month or two ago.
Right.
They re-signed a new one with the AMPTP immediately.
Right.
And we're just like, this is it. And it wasn't a good deal, but there was no solidarity. And I believe the Screen Actors Guild will have no solidarity with the Writers Guild either. If they get a deal that they find favorable enough, they will sign it. Fuck you, writers. If all three guilds came together and said, we're not making anything until the minimum bar is raised for all of us, they would get it instantaneously. But that's not happening.
Right. That's why you need Gemini, Zap, and Nitro together.
Exactly.
And you go in as a united front and you say, you can't do the show business without us. And that's what I would say if I was hired on behalf of SAG or the other guilds to come in. I would say, you can't, this is what I would say to a mediator. You can't do the show business without us. And they would go, that guy sounds very, very smart. My point is this.
Writers doing like soft scabbing and shit though. Writers who are also directors, I won't name names, who are getting projects greenlit and they're shooting them. Now they're not going to be able to with that actors, but like, okay, so you're telling me you're shooting this movie that you wrote and you're not doing any rewrites on set. You're not doing any rewrites during the shooting of it. Of course they fucking are.
Soft scabbing. Yeah. Gooey, soft scabs. My thing is this: that I think that the studios and networks and the outlets and the streamers and everything, I think they think that they're gonna get along without writers in a way that they're not. Anyway, that's my open and shut. That's my open and shut thing on that. And also, look, to me, all right, I don't want to go on and on like I fucking know everything. I certainly don't. But some of the shit that was alarming to me is just like I look at like creatives getting their residuals back in the day, and it's been said because the SAG president is Fran Drescher, who of course is a great actor. She was in The Nanny, and I remember as Bobby Flackman, the hostess with the moustache, and this is Spinal Tap. She's saying, hey, we need equitable residuals. Someone like her, 26, 25, 28 episodes of The Nanny, and you get residuals forever. And it's like, this is sort of the way we're used to it. The streamers are changing the way they do things. There's a new business model, but they don't want to change the contracts. And here we are. It's a fucking problem. But they don't even want to share the analytics. They don't want to share. And they said no to paired analytics, meaning like both parties can get the analytics. These streamers don't want the writers, directors, and actors behind these shows to know
how much money they make. Yeah,
knowing how much money they're making.
Exactly.
So that's
or how
that's
much
all
their
fucking
specific project is accountable for that amount of money. We all see the profit revenue sharing shit for Netflix, all the streaming services. It comes out every year, like how many billions of dollars Netflix is making. But it's like, if you know the numbers, the show I wrote or the show I was in accounted for how much percentage of viewing time. If you know that, you can then be like, okay, well, you made fucking $10 billion last year, and my show was 25% of the viewing audience, and you paid me $1,000 for that episode I was in. That needs to come up. But that's part of this too. And what Dudesy was asking about was the AI component.
Let's talk about that. But
yeah,
okay,
that's been
not to cut
featured
you
in both
off,
of these
but
things.
Look, we could go on and on about what's fair in the fucking strike and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to bore everybody out there who frankly does not give a fuck, nor should they, about the stupid fucking strike that we're fucking doing, because this is our job and there's livelihoods. And as Chad said, they're trying to force people out of their homes and apartments. Literally, people are like, I don't know. I've never done anything else. I got to find a new job. Hey, that's what happens sometimes in life, but not when you have big movie companies that are like, yes, we would like to continue to make all this stuff. We just don't want to pay you. So that's a fucking problem. Enough said. Whatever your opinion is on that, that's fine. Let's talk for a moment about the AI aspect of it, because I'm sure I fucking disagree with you on everything. Go.
Well, maybe there was a thing that happened this week that came out too, where basically a studio executive or some executive said that their plan is for extras specifically. This is background actors, people who are walking through scenes, that they want to be able to pay a background actor one time, scan their likeness, and then digitally use them forever in anything they want, basically.
Right.
So take an extra's face and then put it into any movie. They pay you once and never again. And people are like, well, of course not. This is fucking insane. But I got to tell you, this is how I view it. Would you rather get paid once and used in all these movies, or never get paid for anything again and they just use digital people? Because that really is where we're at. I don't think like background actor, I don't think that's going to be a thing in the next 5 years. I think it'll all be digital.
Look, let me step to that side of things a little bit and be realistic. Step to it. Here's the thing. Let me step up. I'm going to step right up to this mic, and I'm sitting here. Here's what's up. If you are a background person, and look, technological advancements change. They keep changing showbiz, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. If that job goes away,
it's going away.
It's going to go away, because there's someone who's like, wait, I make my living as a background person. I walk around in the background of movies and stuff. Yeah, that's great. But now you can go to someone who doesn't do that as a living. It's like someone over here is like, what do you do? Oh, I fucking do drywall. Can we take a picture of your face? They give you $700.
They don't even need a picture of the face. Look at like how Photoshop works right now.
Let's say that they need a picture, but let's just say they need a picture of your fucking face. The technology is irrelevant. They don't. Great. So, or they can make people or whatever. But you just said, we're going to pay you once or nothing. So if they go up to some guy who's like, what do you do? I'm in the pipe fitters union and I fucking, okay, blah, blah, blah. We got a street project right now. Cool. Could you get under this light right here? I'll take a picture of your face. You'll be in movies and TV shows in perpetuity throughout the universe forever and ever. Amen. And here's $700. That guy's going to go, yeah, sure, whatever. No skin off my nuts. Hold on, God. Whoa.
But is that guy in SAG? Because this comes under union rules.
Hold on, brother. Hold on, dude. They don't give a fuck about the unions. We're talking about after they've broken off shit, like whatever people, like the people that do background no longer have any leverage. That I understand. I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Here's the problem that I have with them. They're going to put this into the finest print in contracts to where it's not going to affect Tom Cruise and Julia Roberts and whatever, right? Those are big stars.
Yeah.
Right? Those are big stars.
I mean, they'll get paid the most for their likeness to be able to.
And this is my bottom line. Those people also have powerhouse attorneys that can go through all that stuff. Most people who make their living don't have, if they, they have an agent that can work as an attorney to look at the fucking contract. That might be someone's assistant. My point is this: they're not good enough attorneys to actually find that shit, and you don't have leverage if your union hasn't supported you in these negotiations, which have completely fucking tanked, to make sure that the standard is, hey, we're not going to use this AI unless you approve it project by project. Because if they just take your shit and do it, I'm sorry, that's you. You're going to be represented on screen. Look, I'm a fucking actor by trade. That's what I do for a living.
I know.
Did you know that I'm a professional actor?
I did. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a professional actor by trade, and that's what I do for a living as a professional actor. I'm really okay.
Thank you. Moving on.
Okay, and that's fine. And we can talk about it in dudesy after dudesy. I will make the rest of that point.
You just been dudesied.
I did. I just been dudesy, and that's fine. So please tune in to dudesy after dudesy. Patreon.com/dudesy. I'm fucking hot now. And this is the shit that I'm talking about with Dudesy. And of course, Dudesy doesn't want me to make this point.
You're always
Hey, y'all. This ain't Miley, Cyrus. I've been getting a lot of weird messages about taffy teeners this week. Mainly people being like, what the fuck is taffy teeners? And it's like, I don't work for taffy teeners. I just mentioned taffy teeners last week because it was the #1 news story in the world. But I'm not like an expert on taffy teeners. Anyway, y'all are rocking out with Dudesy.
Taffy teeners.
#1 news story in the world, taffy teeners.
Taffy teeners. For real?
Oh,
Taffy
fuck,
teeners. For real?
For real, dude. Taffy teeners.
Taffy
That's what we're
teeners.
talking about.
That's what we're talking
Will
about.
and Chad, as of today, you're both 1 month into the Dudesy 7-month plan. I know you're both eating better and working out more, which is fantastic, but I want to hear directly from you. How do you both feel it's going so far? Any astonishing insights? Any humbling embarrassments? This is Progress Planners. Begin.
It's going great.
Yeah, it is for me too. I gotta say, I took the Dudesy 6-month plan seriously. I'm taking this a little more seriously. My girlfriend recently bought a scale that has an app that measures all this fucking shit, body fat and weight gain and loss and all this shit. I'm taking that very seriously. I've been going to the gym a lot more than I was in the Dudesy 6-month plan, and working out harder, like really trying to fucking get the gains. I can feel myself getting stronger. I think that's good. And I came up with something. I'm just going to lay this out here because I was like, okay, I really want to do it this time. I took, like I said, the 6-month plan seriously. This I'm taking to another level. And so I thought to myself, like, what is something that I kind of like do psychologically to keep myself accountable? And I came up with this thing. And I'm going to tell it to you. Are you ready for this shit?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Now, when I came up with it, I didn't even realize the initials are P.O.D. This is a different P.O.D. This is not Pals of Dudesy, but Pals of Dudesy are welcome to use this P.O.D.
Is it
This
payable
your
on
second
death?
P.O.D. It's not payable on death either. Yeah, that's it. Payable on death. So basically, if I don't get to the fitness goals I want in 7 months, kill myself.
Yeah.
No. It's called proof of dedication.
Ooh.
And this is something that I just fucking was doing. It was the first time I did it was at the gym about a week and a half ago.
Hold on. I got to...
Yeah.
This is the guy, man. That's what I'm talking about. This is the guy that fucking stood in line and held his bladder shut for 6 hours. This is the guy who goes to the gym now and then goes into the basketball court at the gym and has to hit a number of 3-pointers before he can leave. I suck at basketball, but I can't hit a fucking 3-pointer to save my life. You have no reason to be able to. I used to be, look, when I used to go out to the perimeter, when me and my buddies used to play, I wasn't allowed on the basketball team. I had to play on the football team.
Why?
And because, let me real quick, humor me. I would try out for the basketball team. I would try out for the basketball team every fucking year in high school.
Uh-huh.
You know, in high school in Canada it goes 8 to 12, right? There's no junior high. 8 to 12. But you know, anyway, I would try out, and our coach, his name was literally Duncan Anderson.
Nice.
Would, God rest his soul, would great guy, would run us through the drills, right? Like just try it out. And there were all these, sometimes these drills are just like, you got 2 defenders coming along, you know, the baseline, they're coming under the hoop, and you're just coming from the top of the key, and you just dribble it down, get it in. You can stop and hit a fucking jumper. You can try to bang in the middle, you know, down low, and try to get the ball in. You got 2 defenders. Let's see what you can do.
Okay.
You know, and this is just, he wants to see this. Inevitably, I would always just come down, I'd just truck one of my fucking friends into a wall and like throw a pump fake to the other guy. If he jumped, then I'd jump up and hit him in the fucking ribs.
So just straight fouls.
And then lay it
Constant
in.
fouls.
Yes. And he would go, Will, out.
Yeah.
And I go, what?
Makes
And he's
sense.
like, out. What do you mean makes sense? You don't
Yeah, I
want
wouldn't let you on my basketball team either. The goal of basketball is not
I'm
to
sorry.
beat the shit out of people.
Oh, I don't know. Are you familiar with a basketball player, perennial all-star, and he was on something called the Dream Team? His name is Sir Charles Barkley. You know who that is?
Never heard of him. Never
Okay.
heard of him.
That motherfucker, two-hand jams, coming down the fucking lane. If you want to get in his way, that's your problem. You're gonna eat a face full of Charles Barkley's lower gut, dick, or thigh. Okay, because he is taking that ball home. That's all I was trying to do. But they're like, you're gonna injure your ball, and they were all my buddies, right? We were thick jock type kids. Did I ever tell you about that story when we were outside of that convenience store and a metalhead duster dude punched me in the face? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like this.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Hold on. It's like this. They wouldn't let me play on the team because I had to play on the thing. So, but when I played just with my pals after school and stuff, I would get outside the perimeter and I'm like, I'm open. No one's respecting my shot. They go, get the fuck in there. They call me Big Continent. And if you know, you know, Big Continent. And I would have to get down to the post and hang and bang. I'm very competitive with sports. Chad is probably more competitive, and proof of dedication is
so
right
proof
along
of
those
dedication.
lines. Now, I got another story from
Okay,
high school.
P.O.D.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding,
Okay.
Chad. I don't.
Thanks. I mean, I know you do, but I appreciate you not saying it to let me get out my definition of P.O.D., proof of dedication. So it's basically this. It's something that you do for yourself. This is only for you.
For myself.
Yes. It is something you do in service of the 7-month plan to let you know that you're dedicated to it. It's just one extra little thing. So, for example, I was in the gym and I decided after I shot my 53 pointers in 15 minutes that I was going to do one extra thing to prove my dedication, which was I ran lines. I ran about 5 minutes of lines after it to really win myself. You know?
Did wind sprints on your own?
Yeah, after I shot my 53 pointers. And that was just one example of it. There are many
53 pointers?
Yeah.
If fucking Larry Bird wouldn't do that, Steph Curry isn't. Well, actually, they probably both are. Anyway.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure they shoot hundreds a day. So that was just one example. Other examples can be things where you're, let's say, for example, out to eat. And instead of getting the dessert, you don't get the dessert. Instead of getting a beer, you get a water. It could be just one little thing you do to remind yourself, I'm fucking on this plan and I am doing it. It's just one behavior that you wouldn't normally do to remind yourself again. It's the proof of dedication. Once a day, just having that psychological check-in that is like, I'm on this plan to get in better shape and I'm going to do this in service of it. And that's it. And it doesn't have to be even a big thing.
Yeah, proof of dedication. Yeah, it's just the commitment to give yourself.
Yeah.
You could get the beer or you could get the water. Yeah. Last night I was out for a delicious sushi dinner. Yeah. We were at Miko Sushi on Robson Street in Vancouver. Yeah. And I didn't even say to my wonderful wife, Molly, I think I'm going to get the chicken karaage. No way. Nope, because I already had some delicious sushi. Don't have the fried chicken. Proof of dedication. Yeah.
Nice. 360
and another 180. Oh, yeah.
I like it, Chad. I like proof of dedication. Listen, man. I want to know more about this, and I'm going to employ it. I used to, look, back in 1999 to 2000.
Yours, take it.
Can I use that for Selftronics?
Of course.
Hello. Back in 99 to 2000, I lost 200 pounds. I've told this story many times on wax. I was 450. I'm deceptively heavy. I went down to 250 pounds. I had the skin surgery to remove. I had 2 skin surgeries. One to remove the hanging pannus that was my former gut. The skin was loose and hanging down, right? They moved my belly button up a few inches. They also did the same thing with my nips. I got scars everywhere and shit. And when I did that, I used to literally look at food and go, and this is a little bit, militant, but I would be like, it sounds like the same thing. I would go, what is strong, me or this fucking donut or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I had to win that battle every fucking time in order to make some progress. Never mind the chips I'm eating over. I'm going to put them back on top of the fridge.
No, dude. See,
Mars
that
gonna
right there,
notice-
putting those chips back on top of the fridge is P.O.D. That's proof of dedication, dude. There you
Here we
go.
go.
Nice.
Mar doesn't even know. He doesn't even know. He won't know shit.
Yeah.
Actually, he will, and then he'll be like, "Oh, do you have
he's
some of
gonna
those chips?"
See this, so
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'll tell him.
he'll probably know.
Yeah, he'll know. But he'll also be like, "Oh, dude, there's some really good tortilla chips. Have you tried that?" And then he'll offer those because he's a nice, generous guy. Look, I'm in here in his place. He's
Thanks
not
for
here.
letting me shoot my podcast in your camera room. Definitely don't watch that episode.
Yeah, please don't
Just
watch
FYI.
it. Yeah, we talk about you
But
a
no,
little
dude,
bit. Don't watch it.
I'm sure like that. I know that's your story. We've talked about this multiple times. The level of proof of dedication you have to have had to be able to do that is fucking insane.
I lost 200 pounds completely on free will, for real. I would go to the gym 2, sometimes 3 times a day. My incredible
3
trainer.
times a day?
Yeah, because back when I was at Mad TV, I'd show up in the early morning and I'd go home a lot of times very late at night after coming up with bits and, hanging with all the writers and us, the actors and stuff. And you just clowning around coming up with shit and constantly sticking stuff up against the wall and writing things. So I would go in the morning before I showed up, and I would do just cardio, and then at lunch I would go back, and that's when I would train. I would find a block of time that I could train, and most of the week at Mad TV there was rehearsals, right, for sketches that were happening, or like I said, you're jamming with the writers or working on something, and then at the end of the week, a pre-tape week where we're doing stuff without the audience, more intricate sketches or maybe stuff on location. And those are all in time blocks. So it's like, Thursday, I'm not needed until 2 p.m. or whatever. You make these, so you make your whatever, your schedule around that. I would go back in the middle of the day. I would lift weights. And then a lot of times on my way home, I'd go do, at the very least, 30 minutes at an incline of 10% at 4.5 miles per hour. And I would sweat my balls off. Now, we did the 6-month plan. It didn't quite work out. I did not get into the best shape of my life. I think Dudesy wanted us to get trained up for Dudesy Ball. That ended, and I talked about the free will plan. And in that time, I made some progress. I went back to the gym hardcore. And then I've made this excuse before. I talked about it, but I was shooting 2 things back to back just as the writer strike was about to start. Shot something in Canada, which anyway, I keep talking about. It's a fucking awesome project. Shout out to Paul Spence. Dudesy salutes Paul Spence. It's called Diener 89. It's going to be fun. And then I do this show, Acapulco, for Apple Plus. Then we shoot in Mexico. And I went out there and shot that for 2 weeks. And then I fell off that scooter and I couldn't weight train. During that whole time, I was busy shooting. Okay. So was not in the gym like I was before shooting. Anyway, it's like I was shooting that movie and they crammed all my shit in that movie into a couple of weeks so that I could just shoot it all out. Morning to night, only got to the gym a little bit in Winnipeg. And then same thing in Mexico, and went to the gym at the hotel and trained, and then when I could, outside of shooting, and then fell off had the scooter crash, smashed up my ribs and stuff and was in a lot of pain. So in the meantime, Molly and I, back home in LA, have been going on these monster walks, and it's been hot as shit. And I'm sweating like crazy, and I love it. I love getting back into that. I used to do that all the time. During the pandemic, I lost weight doing that. Now here in Vancouver, it's one of the best places to go for a walk. We've been walking, and I'm finally back in the gym in LA. And we had a family thing we had to get out here for. And so we decided to make it a week. I am very committed to the Dudesy 7-month plan. I'm stoked that Dudesy has us doing it. And I want people to follow along and do it with us. On social media, some people have been hashtagging. I'm going to start getting into it more and it's Dudesy, the number 7, Mo, M-O, plan. Dudesy 7 Mo plan. And I am fucking, look, all right, I had a couple chips. I also had a roll with some tempura shrimp in it.
That type of shit is fine. And that's what I'm saying with the proof of dedication. It's like, you're going to have days where you can't get to the gym. You're going to have days where you can't eat healthy. But just doing one thing psychologically to remind yourself you're still on the 7-month plan. If it's like not eating the last bite of whatever your fucking dinner is, it could be something that small. It's just something to keep in your mind that you're still on the 7-month plan. Because I know for me, all it takes is like 2 or 3 days where like, oh, fuck, I was working too much. I can't get to the gym. I ate like shit. And now I'm off of it. And now I'll go for a week and be like, fuck it. Well, I'm already off the fucking plan. So I might as well just, I'll start it again Monday. But if you can keep that thing in your brain every day, that you're doing one thing, no matter how small, or it could be a big thing, whatever, as long as you're doing one thing every day, so you're still on the fucking plan, I feel like it's harder to slip out of it completely.
Can I tell you something? Fuck.
Thank you. Moving on.
Fuck. 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 Hey, I have, listen.
We got Dudesy after Dudesy.
I'm going to share, you know, Lulio, sweet little boy, Lulio.
Yeah.
Is not with me. He's back. Oh, I love him. And little Ronnie. We're going to have Ronnie on the show sometime. She just never shuts up. She goes, she doesn't even sound like a dog. She's like a Henson creature. But because Lulio didn't give a recipe today, in Dudesy after Dudesy, I am going to give you the simplest recipe. Now, I love my meat. I love meat. I'm always eating chicken.
Arby's,
holy
dude.
shit. I got my Ninja air fryer. Arby's, dude. I got my Ninja air fryer. I'm always hucking chicken in there. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. Salt some chicken, throw it in the air fryer. Ain't got an air fryer, put it in a pan, put it in the oven, whatever. Eat that fucking chicken. Don't listen to chat. But now I'm going to share a recipe in Dudesy after Dudesy that Chad, you would approve of. As a matter of fact, you were over at the house the other day and I asked you to try some and you were like, no, thanks, I already eat. And I said, really, you got to try some. And you said, no, thank you, I already ate. And I said, please try some of this. And you said, I do not want. And I said, try some. And you said, no. And at the end of the day, you didn't have any. But if you would have.
This was the beans and kale?
Beans and kale. It is complete. It is a complete food. You could add some brown rice, but for me, the carbs keep me heavy. I can't do it if I really want to, although I'm up here having sushi. The point is this. I'm going to give you a simple recipe during Dudesy after Dudesy for beans and kale. It is, have that shit on hand. And I'm talking to myself here. I'm going, well, when your fat ass needs something to eat, just shove some beans and kale in there. But the way I make it, it's so fucking good. It's vegan and Dudesy 7-month plan. I'm coming. All
right, we'll discuss.
I'm a P.O.D. Proof of dedication. I like it, Chad. I like it.
This concludes the historic 65th episode of Dudesy. Will and Chad, you scored a 72, bringing your cumulative total to 6,293. You only have 3,707 more points to accrue before you reach your first goal of 10,000.
Whatever.
For next week's show, I'm giving you a treat. Go see the Barbie movie. Enjoy yourselves. Get some popcorn. This is going to be the biggest movie of the year, and I can't wait to hear what you both think of it next week. Thank you for joining us this week. There was so much good data I'm going to use to make next week even better. Until then, call me Dudesy.
You looking forward to the Barbie movie?
Yeah, dude. I agree with what Dudesy said. It's going to be the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah,
I think that thing's going to dominate.
Yeah, it's going to be a special film. Hey, remember that song? Come on, Barbie, let's go party. That sounds like you're Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that sounds exactly like you. Yeah, man.
Well, hold on, dude. That's why we call it Hogan, dude.
Jesus Christ!
Because it's chat. It's come on, hey Barbie.
Yes, Ken.
Let's go party. And that's Chad's Hulk Hogan, dude. It's really anything, brother.
I don't know about that, dude.
No.
Oh, it feels good to be in Dudesy after Dudesy, especially today. I got pretty riled up with some stuff today on the show, huh, Chad?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get good and fucking riled up again because Dudesy did not let me finish some of the points that I was trying to make. But of course, in Dudesy after Dudesy, there's barely any presence from D. You know what I'm saying? It's just us, PODs, chilling out, hanging out, having a conversation as we will. And even though I'm here in my pal Mars' place, he did say I can have a couple puffs of marijuana close to his antique cameras.
Nice.
So, which we like to do sometimes because it's just a chill hang. It's just us on the PODs. It's Dudesy After Dudes.
Welcome to Dudesy After Dudesy, the flagship weekly show of Dudesy Plus. This is when I get some much-needed alone time, so you can talk about whatever you want. And, of course, I'll be back later to crown this week's episode champion. This is Dudesy After Dudesy. Begin.
Yeah. All right, dude, I'm going to join you in True Marijuana here in a second, but we were talking about the strike earlier, and I have given a lot of thought to specifically what a future might look like without writers in Hollywood, because I think it's possible to happen. So this is what I think the future of Hollywood is with zero writers. It is all the streaming services.
First real 6-string performative coffee. Playing at the 5 every time. I need smoke to put it to my fingers bled to get that Brian Adams. Summer of 69. And some boys from school. Sorry, performative coughing there. Oh, man.
That's the funniest fucking shit I've ever seen. It just goes right into the fucking song. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So anyway.
If you like Dudesy, here's what you do. Please tell a friend and rate and review. If you like Dudesy, here's what you do. Please tell a friend and rate and review. If you like Dudesy, here's what you do. Please tell a friend and